What an emotional roller coaster the last 24 hours have been for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, Darius Slay is out. Darius Slay is in. Darius Slay is out. Darius Slay is in. Man, the Eagles, if anything, are very entertaining. There's never a boring or a dull moment when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles in the offseason. Look, good news is that a veteran piece of our defense is returning, it looks like. It looks like that is now official. But I want to get into the specifics of the contract. I'm going to break it down line for line for you guys and explain both sides of this. I'm not taking sides. I'm explaining the organization side, and I'm going to explain Darius Slay's side of this thing. All right, y'all. Get your calculators ready. What's up, Cerebral Football fans? My name is Steven Hyder. This is Gate City Sports Channel. So, just to reiterate what I just said, guys, this is not about taking sides. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for Howie Roseman and the Eagles front office, and I really, really do have a ton of respect for Darius Slay and his wife, Jennifer Slay, and the things that they do, for the Eagles community, man. I mean, they interact with the fans. They're really great people, to be quite honest. With that said, I do think that there needs to be some explanation of, what just happened, Steve? Can you walk us through what did we all just witness as Eagles fans? This was the craziest thing that we have seen in quite some time. And I think to understand this, guys, we have to go back to the original contract of Darius Slay and then walk through step by step what happened to get us to the point of contention that we were in just 24 to 48 hours ago with one of the organization's key players. All right. So let's go back to March, I think it was 19th, 2020, when Darius Slay was officially traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. On that date, he signed an extension following the trade for 3 years, $50,050,000, with $13 million of it in a signing bonus, $30,050,000 guaranteed. Put another way, guys, he got 60% of that contract guaranteed. And $16,683,333 of an AAV, average annual value of the salary. Keep in mind all the things that happened in that offseason, right? Byron Jones and James Bradbury, and those guys signing their deals. Byron Jones with the Dolphins, James Bradbury with the Giants. Remember, we really wanted to land a corner in that offseason, and we struck out multiple times, and then we came up with a great solution, which was to go get Darius Slay. So what started happening? That's the basis of the contract. So what started to happen in terms of this contract, guys? Starts by looking at the guarantees just a little closer, right? I gave you this number of $30,050,000 guaranteed, or 60% of that contract valuation. But at signing, $26,050,000 of that sucker was guaranteed. How was that guaranteed? Well, it's not that odd, guys. $13 million in a signing bonus, his 2020 salary, his 2021 salary, and $2 million of his 2022 salary. If he's on the roster at a certain date, we're all guaranteed. Okay, so that came out to be about $26 million and $50,000 worth of guarantees inside the contract. I've heard that reported a little differently. I've heard some people say it's 28, some say 26. I don't know, guys. Believe or you want to believe. I see the most reported number being 26 million, but if you want to go off of 28, guys, it's not hurting my feelings. I don't know, guys. I don't work for Drew Rosenhaus, and I don't work for Howie Roseman, so I can't really tell you the actual contract. I only know what's been reported. All right, let's go past that. We get past the guarantees. How do we get in a situation to where you have a $26 million dead cap hit on a guy like Darius Slay, but he's only making $17 million in the base? Where's all this extra money coming from, Steve? You got to go back to the 2021 season, guys. During the offseason of 2021, we just hired Nick Sirianni. We just walked away from Carson Wentz. We were 90-some million dollars. We were almost $100 million over at one point in that offseason. We had to start looking at guys we could restructure. We had to start restructuring these contracts to get, us not only to the positive side, but have a little cap space to also sign, some guys from the draft. We had to have the they call the draft pool for those rookies. And we also had to get other dudes on our contract. We went out after June and we signed Steven Nelson, right? So how do we do that? It starts off with 2021 and Darius Slay. And what they ended up doing in 2021 is taking $10 million of his $12 million base salary and then converting that, guys. So he had a $12 million base salary, and they took $10,925,000 of that and basically converted it into a signing bonus and restructured that figure. That's the first domino to fall, guys. Now you have $10 million, almost $11 million on the books being restructured, okay? So you're getting that cap flexibility in 2021, but you do owe that somewhere down the line. Fast forward, then what happens? In 2022, they go back to the tables again to restructure the deal. Some of you guys might be noticing right away that, man, you know, we've done this with other players, Fletch being one of them, where we kept restructuring until the situation got very complex. You can see some similarity there. You could definitely see it. In 2022, Slay restructured $14,880,000 worth of his $16,880,000 base salary. Once again, converting that into a signing bonus. Once again, now you have to look at this and say you got almost $11 million from the year prior and now almost $15 million from 2022. This is all restructured. We got to pay this back eventually, right, Steve? Yeah, you do. Now you're starting to see where these numbers come from. So to begin with, let's take a look at the finer details of how we got to $25,805,000 worth of restructured money already inside of Darius Slay's contract. You got to take the numbers and you got to add them up, guys. So if you take that 10.9 and you take that 14.8 figure and you bring those together, you're going to get $25,805,000 worth of money that's been restructured. So right away, you might notice something. We're sitting here with a $17 million base salary, right? We've already restructured his base salary for 2 consecutive years, and now we're coming back to the table a third year to Darius Slay to try to restructure that base salary. Now, I think the issue that you'll see from Darius Slay's side of the standpoint is, hey man, I no longer have any more guaranteed money on this contract. I no longer have a contract after this year. You know, I think this is where the real tension came into play, guys. This is where I think Darius Slay wanted probably some guarantees that carried him through 25. And the Eagles were probably looking at the age, looking at the underlying analytics, and being like, we love you, Darius, but that's really tough, man. And I think they got into a fight over the dollar figure and the amount of guarantees and the length of the contract. I just think it spiraled out of control, guys, to be quite honest. All right, let's keep breaking this sucker down, which leads us to his 2023 numbers. Let's go line by line through the 2023 numbers and let me explain some of the stuff that's going on here. $17 million base salary with a $3.25 million signing bonus still on the books. Last year, that signing bonus, that is due to Darius Slay. We have a workout bonus of $500,000, a restructured figure that comes all the way back from 2022 and 2021's accounting of $5,361,000, and a total cap hit of $26,111,000. So $26,111,000 cap hit. How do you get there? It's simple, guys. You take the $17 million base, and now you need to account for what else is in the contract. So just quick accounting here, guys. Take your 325 and your 5361. Take those two figures, add them together, right? Because that's the money that's already been paid to Darius Slay, but it still counts against the cap of us because we prorated it, right? We promised to pay the league back at a later date. You take those numbers and you add them together and you get $8,611,000. Okay. You're probably asking yourself, you know, there was a lot of reporting saying that if we released Darius Slay after June 1st, we would get back like $17.5 million. How does that work? Take the $26,111,000 total cap hit and then subtract that figure of $8,611,000, and then you see what you got remaining, right? You can see that right there. You have the $17,500,000 that would be remaining. That's what you would get back. The reason you're doing that is, guys, is what you're basically figuring out is like, yeah, I can get back my $17 million base and my $500,000 workout bonus because Darius Slay would not be on the contract. However, what I do have to keep in mind is there's still dead money here because, you know, we have a restructured and we have a signing bonus that must come off the cap for 2023. But then all the remaining stuff's got to come off the cap for 2024. So then you have to then figure out, like, okay, like what's remaining on 2024's cap. And that's pretty easy, honestly, to figure out, guys. All you have to do to figure out 2024's cap is to know what is in terms of, like, what's the restructured amount that's on 24, what's the restructured amount that's on 2025, what's the restructured amount that's on 2026. Do all that figures, add them together, and I think it's like $13 million or so that would be remaining. So you would be paying in dead money in 23, $8,611,000. And then in 2024, you would have like a little over $13 million coming off of your cap for what would be remaining on the contract. And that was if you outright cut him with a June 1st designation. Same thing kind of applies really for a trade too. June 1st designation is really the same thing. All right. Let's get to the heart of this situation here. I am glad that they found a way to come together and figure this thing out, man, because a lot of you guys were hurting, man. I read the comments, man. I know a lot of y'all were hurting over this, man. Some of you guys were like, you know, we know at some point you have to move off of Darius Slay. He's a 32-year-old corner. We just don't want it to be such an unceremonious way of moving off of him. This just feels like, it feels wrong for like what this guy meant to us and like how bad we were at corner before he arrived here. I felt y'all, man. I felt the emotion in that stuff. I felt what you guys were saying. It never made sense to me either because like it just like, yes, you can save more money, but here's the facts. You're trying to sign players. The numbers I read to you, well, guess what? You got to carry that full $26 million cap hit. You have to carry that full dead money hit until June 2nd. That's what the June 1st designation does. After June 1st, then you can split it up. You pay what is owed in 2023 immediately in 2023 in terms of the dead money, and then the remainder in the contract will come out the following year's cap in 2024. So you would lose $13 million against 24's cap if you basically wanted a June 1st designation. How does this differ from Fletch? With Fletch, it was a little weird because with Fletch, what we have to keep in mind here, guys, is that Fletcher Cox had an accelerator in his contract. There was an escalation to his contract numbers, and that escalation is what caused the Philadelphia Eagles to go, okay, we got to figure something out here. They cut him, then brought him back with a re-sign. There is no escalation in Darius Slay's contract. There's no escalator. Slay's issue was really and honestly over, hey, man, I'm a 32-year-old corner. I still got life left in these legs. I want some guaranteed money if I'm going to restructure for a third consecutive season for you. And, like, I would like to have some guarantees maybe for the next couple of years here, something that holds me to the roster. I think Howie was like, man, it's like 32, then you're 33, then you're 34. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can see both sides. You can see both sides into why there was a holdup here. I don't have animosity towards either side. Man, the NFL stands for not for long, so I get Darius Slay trying to get his money. Howie Roseman is the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles. He has to make prudent financial decisions about player age and contracts, about roster construction, all those things, man. It's not an easy scenario. All right, guys, I hope this helps, man. I hope breaking this down for you line for line and showing you exactly what happened. Hopefully that helps. All right, y'all, I appreciate y'all's time and attention. If you got questions, leave them down below, guys, and I'll do the best I can to get back to you and give you an answer. And with that said, guys, I'll see y'all on the next video.